I still have that thing on my eye, or Emily told me I should wear my glasses. Have you seen this? This thing has been on my eye since Labor Day. I've never had a sty in my life. And then I got
I didn't
one.
notice it.
See it?
Yeah, I see it now, but
And then I got one, and then a week or two ago, I got another one, but it was on the inside of my eyelid on this eye, and I was like, "What the hell? I've never had one ever."
that sucks.
Yeah, someone told me that you can spread them doing this, but I think they're just like zits, aren't they? Yeah. How do you spread zits? I don't know. Are we
I don't
going? Good. Great. Did you get all that? All right, come on. That's for Patreon viewers, Patreon subscribers only. Can I clap? All right. Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Network. Fireside Tattoo Podcast. This is the first time we podcasted in forever, it feels like. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, we haven't podcasted here in a long time. Months, I guess. Oh yeah, the Nick Baxter workshop. That was in July. So what is this?
Really?
October. Yeah, we haven't podcasted in this room since July. Huh? No, that was July. It was his workshop was July the 30th. And so it would have been like the 1st of August that we actually did the podcast. And that podcast hasn't even aired yet because it pitches his workshop that was done at Lisa Mack's world famous Studio 688. Oh, by the way, this is Lisa Mack. If you guys are true Fireside family or followers, you obviously already know Lisa because she was on episode 4, 5, 6, like early on at the beginning. What kind of microphones did we have? Do you remember? Just regular like mics?
Oh yeah, we were definitely on mic stands.
Okay, yeah, I
We
barely remember.
We didn't have. Oh, it didn't stand out to you at all. This is one of the best interviews of your life.
It was fabulous.
We talked about photography.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we said.
Photographing your tattoos.
Photographing fresh tattoos.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna suggest you don't go back and watch it, not because of Lisa, but because I guarantee the quality was so bad.
Framing around your videos in standard definition.
Oh yeah. We shot it in all different definitions. So like the video would like you had a different size black box around your YouTube video at any point through the interview.
Episode 6.
Episode
Oh,
6.
wow.
Oh. What year? What does it say when we released it?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. What month?
Give me a second.
We don't have to.
I don't even know who that girl is anymore.
I
4
know.
year is a long time.
It's a long time. A lot has changed.
A lot.
Now we work together on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We're in the same studio, and then we'll get into the.
2013.
Oh, October 12th. That's
Wow.
almost exactly 4
gosh.
years. Crazy.
That is crazy.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Wow. Well, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. 4-year anniversary.
Yeah,
it's about time.
this is why we're doing this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Celebrating.
So a little bit of housework. Go to tattooimprovement.com, sign up for our newsletter, keep up with where we're going, what we're doing, and what else? Are we going any place soon? No place real soon.
We are. I don't know about it.
Okay. Now we have no trips left for 2017. We have a lot for the start of 2018. And that's all. That's all I have to say about that.
Might do a New Year's episode.
We might do a New Year's episode, probably here, would be my guess. So, why is Lisa Mack on again? We're not going to talk about photography this time.
No.
So, if you guys maybe have noticed over the last couple of months, maybe?
Yeah.
2
I would say
months,
2 months.
that our social media has become a little more regular and a little better, like a little higher quality. It looks like someone actually took a photo and thought about it before they threw it up, and that was Lisa. So Lisa has come on board as our branding, marketing, social media expert, and so that's what I thought we would talk about today. For one, I want to introduce her, and for two, she has some good ideas on branding and marketing, which are important to tattooers, to artists.
Yes.
Right.
It's very visual. And everyone's visual these days with their phones and just access. Everyone has access to you. So your whatever visuals you put out kind of represents who you are and what you're offering as a person, an artist. So anyway.
So were you doing much branding, marketing 4 years ago when we had the first conversation, or no?
No.
What got you into it? I don't guess I've ever asked that.
Actually, working with Barbell Shrugged, I took like a a really intense marketing course, and it like made so much sense to me, and I really enjoyed it. And like once I started to kind of learn about just how to identify as a brand, or how to speak to your customers or your audience, and how to represent that, it just was fascinating to me. So I just kind of started to chase it, and then I just started to do it.
And photography, I guess, kind of lends to it
Yeah.
because you have to have like visual stimulation to promote, right?
Yeah, well, I starting out just as a regular photographer, I would get hired for corporate stuff sometimes, and I kind of started to research it a little bit and just try to think about, well, if I'm photographing a lawyer, what do these people who are going to hire him want to see? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of person do they want to see? So I really became fascinated with that, and that's basically marketing. So then I started to tie it together. Because visual is such a big part of advertising and marketing.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about whenever you like? So when you first started working with us, and obviously we're all over the place. We have changed our logo, our name. We've changed everything a dozen times. Any way you could possibly get in touch with us, we change it from platform to platform because we like to be sneaky like that. But like, what?
That's normal.
Is it? Do
Yeah,
people do that?
I mean, I see it a lot. I actually went through it as well.
Oh.
It takes time to settle into something and to kind of really put all it is that you have to offer together and make it something that sells, or make it something that people want. It takes time to kind of figure that out,
Yeah.
I think.
So if one thing that I thought was kind of that I started thinking about when I was thinking about doing this episode is a lot of our viewers are still fairly new in tattooing. Like maybe they haven't really developed a style or I don't know, some like what they feel like is a consistent body of work. They're kind of experimenting a lot. Would you start branding yourself even at that stage? Like if you don't know exactly what direction you're going in?
Yeah, I would say a fun way to look at branding, because a lot of people don't really think about that when they start doing something. I know tattoo artists are not thinking about branding when they get into it. They're passionate about what they're doing and they're trying to learn and grow. But branding is actually really when you're good at identifying what it is you offer individually, like you, because you are an individual person that is cool and unique, and you bring something to the table that somebody else doesn't. So when you really start to identify that and you can hone in on it, that's when you can really really hook people, because they who you are comes out in your brand. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about it in that, say that you're experimenting with the type of work, whether it's photography or tattooing or painting or whatever, any visual like art. When I flip through Instagram, I'm looking at photos. Some of the things that I notice about people instantly aren't necessarily the tattoo itself, but maybe the way they presented it in the photo, maybe the little whatever watermark that they have in the corner, maybe some combination of those things. Jeff Gogway comes to mind. He's a big name tattooer, a really great tattooer, large scale tattooer, and a lot of times instead of showing the full body suit that he does, he really kind of he'll have a very dark image overall with a very concentrated light that just reveals a piece of the tattoo. And I know instantly, it's almost like it's not about the tattoo. Those photos to me, you're flipping through and I'm like, oh, that's a Gogway piece because I know that lighting,
Yeah, that's a brand, and
Right.
that's actually to his advantage, because people can recognize who he is, and that's very that's important. I mean, that's just the way that you can hook people. That's kind of how people start to believe in you when you have something that you're selling or offering. When you really for instance. With Fireside, we're kind of trying a bunch of different techniques. We're kind of trying to interact with our audience. We're trying to identify what it is we want to say, and it's kind of interesting. It's been fun to
Yeah.
kind of try to think like the people we're trying to speak to.
Yeah, we've largely ignored Instagram. Fireside has. We've barely used it at all. We've focused on Facebook. I'm sorry, YouTube mainly. And you came on and instantly were like, well, let's just ask a few questions. And you
Yeah.
just started. You just came in this the way as I was tattooing one day and like photograph the ink, photograph me working, photograph some whatever my setup, photograph my client, a few things, and then started sending me images saying, what would you say about this, or what question would you ask, or
Yeah.
whatever. And I would have never considered that, but it's been in the short period of time, it's crazy
Yeah.
the response. Like
Yeah.
I'll go and just like I'll see that there's a new Fireside post. I haven't ever posted regularly for Fireside. Scott was doing it before you, but I'll see there's a new Fireside post, and I'll see there's like 14 comments, and it's only been out for an hour, and I'm like, holy shit, who would have thought that?
It's awesome, but it just goes to show that there are people out there that have something to say, and we're all kind of learning from each other. We ask questions that we think people who are looking at our content would want to see, and so just to hear dialogue and hear people offer suggestions or helping each other out, it's actually really cool. It's been a fun process to do. So it's really it's a very true marketing strategy that's not fake or any, it's actually building a community, but it's also they see that you're passionate about something and that you have something good to offer them. I mean, then you're going to gain an audience and a following that way. And you can do that as a tattoo artist individually.
And learn what content is relevant to people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, I know we're running low on episodes, and I'm like, oh, I'll just do a solo episode tonight. I don't have a guest, and we'll come out here, and I'm kind of grasping at straws of like what I might talk about. But just that simple like solution that you came up with, that you introduced, just like, well, let's just like ask a question.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you see that people start offering solutions or asking other questions. And you're like, oh, that's a lot more. That's more that we can sit in front of these cameras and talk about.
Yeah.
So,
And it's also a true thing that we're going through. You're going through as a tattoo artist, and also you do all kinds of things. But it's a struggle for us, and we're kind of hashing this out together. And it's I'm sure there's people all over the world who are doing that right now for their own businesses or for tattoo artists. And Instagram, everything's blowing up on social media, and everything is so visual that people are trying to stand out. And when it's everybody's putting out stuff all the time, so how do you actually capture somebody when there's so much out there? You have to really tap into something.
yeah. We interviewed a guy named Aaron Springs. He's been on the show a couple of times, and if you guys watch, you've heard this story before, but I don't think you've heard it. But Aaron mentioned to me the last time we interviewed him at the Austin convention last year that he thinks about when he's designing a tattoo what that finished product might look like in a 2x2 square, because he wants to make sure that when you're flipping through, something about his piece jumps out at you. So to me, that instantly told me, like, wow, that dude is thinking on a different, like, he has a different mindset than I do. I literally never think about what the photograph of my tattoo is going to look like. I think about what the tattoo looks like constantly. I'm always thinking about whatever, something related to shapes and values and things like that. But never until I'm actually snapping the photo do I think about what the photo looks like.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess he's thinking ahead.
I guess so. He has a bigger following than me too, which, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a great
actually,
tattooer, so.
a lot of people's businesses are they're run off of Instagram, or I mean, Facebook actually too. Just by paid advertisements. I mean, you can advertise to people in your area and people who are interested in tattoo or looking for tattoos. If you've got a tattoo shop or something, you can advertise or whatever.
So if someone, like, whatever, maybe they can't hire someone to help with branding or with marketing, is there anything you were talking about, like, well, if you do something specific, you have a brand and you can start to build off of that? What if you don't know exactly what you do yet? Do you have any tips or any like questions you might ask yourself? I noticed the other day I was like I said, we work in the same studio, or I work in her studio, and so we were sitting in the conference room the other day, and you were talking to a guy, and he started off on a tangent about something like in his business, and you like quickly stopped him and were like, wait, I don't even understand what you do yet. Let's talk about like why are you getting up and doing this every single day? So what's your process when you're trying to like break something down for an artist or just that was a gym owner, but like a business owner, an artist, like what do you have a set, like, do you have questions in your head of like, what do I need to know about this person to do the most good for them?
Yeah, like, I mean, so I read this book called Start With Why a couple years ago.
It was an awesome
I
book.
think, yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
And it just is one of those books that made everything click for me. And I started to just understand that what you're passionate about and what you get up and do every day mixed with what you're greatest at. I mean, that is what your biggest asset. That's what, that's what sells, I guess you could say. So it's hard when you're first starting out to know that off the bat, but when you think about who you are as a person, what you represent as a brand or as just a tattoo artist who's first starting out, trying to decide how you're going to capture a following or people who want to hire you. So what is it that what is it that makes you you? That's what you kind of have to start. You basically just have to start asking yourself a lot of hard questions.
A lot of why. It's
Yeah.
like, why am I doing this? Why am I
Yeah.
drawing this? Why do I want my portfolio to look like this? Why?
And sometimes those are questions you don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
You realize they're kind of hard to figure out, when and frustrating. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a process. But you have to, I guess, in this day and age where everything is visual and everything's on social media and everything, it is kind of like you do feel like you have to keep up with it. You have to. I mean, you don't want to lose business, you don't want to, I mean, people, first thing they do is look up somebody or something on social media. If they're trying to hire you. So, I mean, it's so important but it's also often the last thing that anybody ever invests money in or puts the time into because you're, busy running your business.
Yeah. Trying to make new drawings or
Yeah.
whatever if you're a tattooer.
It's
or
hard
if
to
you're
be
a painter.
creative and have that kind of freedom too, and just like we're different-minded people.
Yeah. The one thing, just a kind of a quick tip, kind of a practical thing that I noticed completely by chance, not for Fireside, but in my own work. I don't have a particular style. I mean, I've told people 100 times, I started tattooing in the mid '90s when there was no such thing as having a style. Like there was no specialists. You did whatever had to be done. And so I've kind of come up, say what? Whatly? Oh yeah, I do swirly tattoos. I did forget about that. Mostly swirly tattoos. But when I'm not doing swirly tattoos, I do all kinds of tattoos. And so as the tattoo world became more and more specialized, I kind of found myself floating around a little bit. And completely by chance, when I moved to 688, we've got the awesome like infinity wall that's all white. And I learned how to take up kind of better photos, or maybe my phone just got better. And I always had that white wall behind me, so my tattoos always looked like lit, like brighter. And so now I go back through my tattoos, and most of if I were to put together a printed portfolio of my finished work, it always has a white background. There aren't that many tattooers that photograph on white backgrounds.
Yeah, it's
they
always
photograph
dark.
on dark backgrounds. And instantly I started noticing like, oh, that's kind of like my tag,
It's
you
like a
know?
clean-
It's like a clean look.
Yeah.
And so even though I hope I'm doing consistently high quality work, but I'm not doing consistently the same subject matter, the same style of tattoo. Just having that clean white background makes all of my tattoos, when I just glance at my body of work, I'm like, oh, those look like they were all done by the same person, just from that one little tip.
And it
or
makes
trick.
sense just like from working with you and like being with you. You're very like organized. You have your like nice little space. Everything's just, you have
Yeah.
like, it's like it fits your style and your vibe too. So it kind of makes sense.
Huh, that it's a white, clean background?
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
I never thought about that.
I don't know. It just kind of it fits your vibe is what I'm saying. So it works. You're true to brand.
Oh, thanks. We did it right. Along those lines, whenever we first started talking about Fireside, we were friends beforehand, so you were very honest with me from the start. You're just like, it's cluttered. It's a mess. There's a lot of crazy shit that you're doing that I don't
I know.
understand.
I wonder if I was a little too harsh at
No,
first.
I appreciate that. You're just like, it's called Fireside. And you don't even have fire in the logo. It's crazy.
I'm like,
But
what are we
what's it
doing
about?
here?
What does Fireside have to do with microphones? But what it did is it started a pretty honest dialogue kind of early on, and by you asking questions and by being like blunt and honest and offering advice of like, you're too cluttered, there's too much going on, I don't see any consistency. We came to the realization that tattoo kind of branding in general isn't something that we're into.
No.
Like black and red and gray and ornamental and skull.
Everything looks
and
like an affliction tee.
Yeah, there's too much shit
gradient.
going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know almost everyone that's watching this is probably with a beard and a cap and a black shirt and some black shorts. But besides you guys, it's gotten kind of like stale to me. I go to a convention, I'm like, everybody looks the same. All their banners look the same. All the whatever. Like, I'm looking at like ads that still have like fluorescent green writing on black backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like, is this 1988 or 92? I have no idea what we're looking at.
It's bad. It's not good. I don't know. I mean, it has its place, and it has it's a brand that, and you can't just like change something overnight. But actually, as someone who's getting into business, or if you're a tattoo artist and you're looking to expand, and maybe you're in a place where there's a lot of tattoo shops or other tattoo artists, and you want to be different, you have to be different. So it's good to find where you're different and really, really push that, and that's how you can stand out,
Yeah, and maybe it may have just been a perfect kind of marriage there, because you came not from the tattoo culture and recognized instantly that that's a very dated kind of look.
Yeah.
I needed that little bit of a push to go like, yeah, I really am. I don't like any of that. I was doing it to kind of conform, but I mean, we've been doing this for a few years now. I think people know that we're legitimate, and we don't necessarily have to present everything in black and red to be accepted in the tattoo community at this point, right?
But it's fun though. It's like, what can we do to make people stop what they're doing and like be like, oh, this is cool, like, or, like, this is different, just refreshing, just innovative. It's always good to be to kind of elevate and flow with things,
Yeah. So if you were whatever, an established tattooer or artist or a beginning, it's probably important to like rather than look at your industry or look at what you're trying to kind of get into and say, how do I conform to that? It's probably better to explore completely different avenues and see what unique you can bring to that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you just want to figure out what really makes you tick. Like, what really is, like, at the end of the day, what you're trying to say. And that might sound like cliche or weird, but I mean, it needs to be something that you can live with, and that you want to be able to say in one sentence is, maybe you figure out a different way to say, I'm a tattoo artist. I create art on people's skin, or just, just try changing it up a little bit. Try adding some flair, or just something that makes you unique, I don't know. It's hard to sum all that up, but it's hard to figure that out. So you gotta be able to figure out what it is that you can bring to the table that's different.
Yeah. So you might ask yourself maybe like, why do I get up and do tattoos every day? What tattoos do I like to do the most? Who are my favorite artists outside of tattooing?
Yeah.
What do they do that's unique? You introduced me to a couple of websites that, and I've never looked a lot at fonts and other logos and things like that weren't directly related to tattooing, but you were just like, just scroll through and like find stuff you like and start kind of. We did it with Pinterest and we did it with another website, but it and you just had me like start creating boards of things that for whatever reason grabbed me.
I was like, do you Pinterest? He's like, what?
Yeah. Now I do Pinterest now, but the cool thing about that experiment is like it kind of liberated me from thinking as a tattooer.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking like, well, maybe I do like bright, like baby blue against brown against whatever. Like, that's a crazy look. and you just grab it and you don't know why, and you throw it on a board, and then you come back later and the two of us would sit down and I'd be like, yeah, I pulled that. I don't know why I pulled that one, but I pulled that one because of whatever. And then you start to kind of like, it's just a process. You start to kind of like whittle through what you like and ask yourself why you like it.
Yeah, it's actually a good test. So I do it with all the people I work with that have different businesses, and we're doing marketing experiments. But I always have them just create a visual board of just things that are visually pleasing to them, and things that really just when they see it, they're like, "Ah."
But they don't have to know why.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
think
so
that's
then
an important point.
that
Just like
yes,
grab it
it's
because
like
you like it.
it's like whatever it is about it that you like, who cares? Just drag it. If you stop what you're doing and you're like, I like this, whether it's like pictures of mountains or it's like a really cool poster or album artwork or just like whatever, you just throw it. And when you go back to look at it all, you start to pull like the common denominators and you start to see patterns, and you're like, oh, I like a lot of stuff that has like diagonal lines or whatever, or I like a lot of stuff that looks like old cartoon, or like what you just start to see patterns. And then that's kind of how because like whatever you were influenced by or whatever you like to look at for inspiration kind of trickles out of you, mixed with who you actually are as a person and your personal style, and then it kind of oozes out, and then it forms its own thing, and that's kind of what it's like this blob of you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's true. I think if you're just grabbing stuff at random, just because you kind of like it, you don't have to like think of it in like, well, does it look like the last thing that I grabbed that I liked, or am I gonna have? Don't think that you're gonna have to explain why you like it when you're grabbing it, and then you may go back and find like, well, I don't really know what I was thinking at that point. Maybe I don't like that one, but you do start to see consistencies.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah, and you're like, oh, apparently I'm into stuff that kind of has that whatever, like you said, diagonals, and you use a lot of like in your personal branding, you have a lot of fluorescence, a lot of strong diagonals, a lot of like really bold shapes and things like that. It's just stuff that stands out to you.
It's stuff that like stuff that I have always enjoyed looking at, that are things that have been pleasing to my eyes. It's like I kind of started to pull all that together, and then that's what I make, and it's cool. It's unique to me, and I enjoy it. And so, but when you're looking at it, maybe from a tattoo artist standpoint or whatever, like whoever inspired you or whoever you were following or paying attention to, or whatever kind of art influenced you, and just whether you're painting or drawing, start recognizing what that is that has kind of shaped you and why. And it's kind of fun if you start to investigate a little bit.
Yeah, and be bold enough to actually like grab something and hold on to it. I've had such a problem throughout my life of like, I don't know, like not committing to a certain type of mark making or style, or saying like, I'm kind of exhausted that I'm gonna move to this. But I rarely like take the time to look at what I naturally do over and over, and intentionally like incorporate it into what I'm doing. Does that make any sense? Like I guess I tend to like, I feel like if I don't constantly explore new things, that I'll lose something. So maybe as a result, I tend to push away a lot of things that are very like natural to me, that I do naturally. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that for too long. I need to try this. I've been doing that for too long. I need to try this.
You don't want to get stale. You just want to
Maybe that's
be
what it
trying
is.
new things all
I always
the
want
time.
to try new things, and I think sometimes that I tend to not. I tend to push away things that are very natural to me, that I should be embracing and doing like more regularly, and I don't.
Why
I
do you
the
think you do
opposite.
that?
I don't know. Because I'm afraid of, cool. Because I'm afraid of like, I don't know, like settling or something, I guess, not exploring more, not learning more.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always good to be innovative, and it's okay. And also people come asking. I mean, you guys have it's different because people come asking for all types of different things. So you get a chance to kind of to be one way here and one way here, and that's okay. I mean, but having one style, that's cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and most of the successful artists, tattooers, painters that I know have identified something specific that they do over and over, and it has become their brand, and they
They only
developed
do
it.
that kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's just it
That's a
obviously
super
works.
niche like type of thing, and I mean that's cool. I mean, if you can do that, then you're doing really well as an artist, I would say.
Yeah, I think I've just dodged it for so long because I've got this like whatever thing where I always want to explore something new.
Yeah, well, that's really cool because I'm that way as an artist because I paint and I make music, I do all kinds of things, and you also do lots of different things. So, I mean, it kind of flows into who you are. I mean, if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Have we said it all? What else do we have to say?
Um,
Stay tuned to Fireside. If you're not following, what is it? Oh, we changed Instagram to Fireside Tattoo.
yeah, yeah.
So if you're not following at Fireside Tattoo, then you won't know what cool things Lisa's doing with our brand. If you're not following at LMAC, is it LMAC Studio?
No,
At least, what is Instagram?
it's
I'm not-
Lisa Mack.
Just Lisa Mack?
It's Lisa Mack.
Oh, it's Lisa Mack. That's right. Yeah. I knew that. It's Lisa Mack.
Yeah.
MAC.
Yeah.
If you're not following at Lisa Mack, you should be. She just put out an album it's on iTunes, and it's called, don't tell me. It's not called Neon.
Well, I'm doing some rearranging, so it's I took the album down, blah blah blah, releasing singles. So there's some singles.
Oh, you
out.
took it down? I can't.
Yeah, well, if you
I bought it.
yeah,
so
well,
I
you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Anyway,
it.
long story, but yeah, there's music out there, but.
So what are you doing? You're taking it down to release them as singles
Yeah,
for a while?
to use my artwork as cover. We just decided visually I wanted to have all of them separate and use all my art as covers, my graphic art stuff.
So that your brand is more noticeable as the song. I mean,
I just wanted,
visually, you wanted it?
I just wanted all those different little covers and singles out there because it's fun.
Huh.
And that's just what I wanted to do.
All right. Well, check out It's Lisa Mack on Instagram.
Yeah, and just we're trying some different things. So you might notice some things be changing around, and maybe comment on it. And if you like it, that'll help us.
Yeah. Or if you don't like it, you can comment too.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, all right.
Say
no
Lisa
more.
Mack not killing it.
Yeah. Like no more fluorescent pink and baby blue.
No, we're just trying new things. We're just trying to see what works, so you can watch in an honest way how we're struggling through it.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, and I think I know I've probably rambled a little bit. I had like 4 of these before we started, so. But I've probably rambled a little bit tonight. But I guess the whole point of the show, or the reason that I wanted to bring it up in the first place, is that like I feel like so many of the people that I've met that watch the show regularly are trying to find their voice or trying to find their way in tattooing. And one way to probably contribute to that, even if you don't know exactly where your tattooing is just to have a consistent way of presenting your work.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Just something that people can recognize as yours, something that's
Yeah.
unique or just clean and consistent and nice. And
even if you don't know your why just yet, or what exactly it is that you're doing or what direction you're going, committing to a consistent way of presenting yourself doesn't mean you always have to present yourself that way. You
Yeah.
can still evolve. You might find like maybe one day white backgrounds don't work on my tattoos anymore, and I'm like, oh, I need the brick wall background.
yeah, just don't be afraid to change either. Don't be afraid to evolve, and because that's how people are anyway.
I think that's been our biggest problem with our brand before you came on, was that I was so scared to commit to anything. Like I would just commit to a logo long enough to be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then one day it would strike me wrong, and I'd be like, I don't like that logo anymore. You have to change that. And I would just go and make a new one, or go to 99 Designs and get a new one. Or, we would have thumbnails that looked the same way for a while, and I'd be like, oh, I don't like those anymore. And I was afraid to commit to anything.
Yeah,
So-
well, that's actually, like I said, that's common. When you just don't really know what you're doing or what you're going for, it's hard to kind of put it all together. It might be a struggle for a while, but you just got to kind of start to narrow it down, and don't be afraid to know that at some point you can change it. But yeah, committing is definitely important.
Yeah. Committing. And that's what we're doing now. We're
Yeah.
committing to a brand new brand
Yeah.
by Lisa Mack.
Nah.
Nah. Thank you guys so much for supporting what we do, and keep up with where we're going. The only thing that I know that we're doing soon is the Space City show, and that's a couple months away, and that's in February. And Shakeem, I don't know Shakeem's last name, is a great guy. And this is the second year of this show, so if you're anywhere near Huntsville, Alabama, anywhere in the South, you should come and check out the show. It really is a fun show. Good tattooers, nice people. Huntsville, Alabama. You can go to the Space Museum and you can get your picture made in an astronaut suit. You want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. We got one
Space
last
suit.
year. Thank you guys. Tattooimprovement.com. Have a good night.